Hey, what's up? Today we're going to cover how to make your ex-boyfriend commit to you. You know, it seems that whenever I've been visiting my website Exboyfriend Recovery lately, I keep getting the same question over and over again. Chris, things are going well with my ex-boyfriend, but how do I make him commit? So I thought I would make a video about it. Now, before I get started, I want to give you a small disclaimer. This video is perfect for someone who is already advanced at getting their ex-boyfriend back. This is not a great video for someone who's just starting off with the no contact rule or some of the earlier tactics or strategies that I teach. In other words, if you are pretty far down the value chain of getting your ex-boyfriend back, this is the perfect video for you, because I'm going to teach you exactly what you need to do to make your ex-boyfriend commit to you. The truth is that making an ex-boyfriend commit to you really revolves around a theory, the interdependence theory. What's that? The interdependence theory posits that human relationships revolve around a cost and benefit situation or scenario. So the goal is with human relationships to maximize the benefits of the relationship and minimize the costs of the relationship. In other words, you want to have more pros than cons. Wow, that's so revolutionary. How about you give me something that I can actually use to get my ex-boyfriend back? Hold your horses, hold your horses. The interdependence theory really revolves around three factors: satisfaction, alternatives, and investment. In other words, in order for your ex-boyfriend to commit to you, he has to feel satisfied with the relationship. He can't think that there's a better alternative out there. In other words, he can't think that there's another girl that he wants more than you. And he has to invest resources into the relationship. In other words, with the interdependence theory, I've basically given you the blueprint for making any man commit to you. And this can't just be applied to your ex-boyfriend. This can be applied to, if things don't work out with your ex-boyfriend, the next man you meet. So let's talk a little bit about those three factors: satisfaction, alternatives, and investment. How can you maximize each of these? Well, the truth is, the interesting thing to note is that you actually don't need to satisfy all three of these aspects. Hold on, what? Well, when scientists were studying the interdependence theory, they found something really fascinating. People would actually stay in relationships even if they were unsatisfied, as long as the alternatives, meaning they couldn't find anyone else better, were low, and the investment was high. In other words, they put a lot into the relationship. So what does this tell us? Well, what it tells us is that you don't have to satisfy all three of these aspects in order to make your ex-boyfriend commit to you. You probably just have to satisfy two. In other words, chill out and don't freak out. Don't spend so much of your time trying to satisfy each one of these aspects. Focus on two, and if you want, you can focus on that third one. But as long as you satisfy two of these aspects, you have a really good chance of making your ex-boyfriend commit to you. Now, the obvious question that you're having at this point is, yeah, how do I get them to be all satisfied? Well, let's focus on that right now. Let's focus on the first aspect, satisfaction. In order to make your ex-boyfriend commit to you, he has to feel satisfied in his relationship with you. So how do you do that? Well, really what you need to focus on is positivity and kindness. Now, when scientists were trying to study what makes married couples stay married, they found that as long as a couple had a ratio of 5-to-1, 5 kindness or positivity aspects to one negative maybe scenario or fight, 87% of couples stayed married. Now, we know for a fact that you are probably having a tough time with your ex-boyfriend. Why? Well, you broke up, and breakups are negative. So that kindness to negative ratio is way off. And that's something that you're going to have to improve if you want to satisfy the satisfaction aspect of the interdependence theory. Now, what about alternatives? What can we do to improve your chances of making him think that there are no better alternatives out there? Well, essentially, this really boils down to the grass is greener syndrome. Sometimes an ex-boyfriend has to leave you to understand that maybe I made a mistake leaving her because everything else out there isn't as good as she was. It is the grass is greener syndrome, where he leaves the relationship thinking that he can do better, and sometimes he realizes, can't do better. Yeah, I get that. Give me something that I can actually use, Chris. Okay, try this on for size. Live well. Show it in your Facebook posts. There's a pretty high probability that your ex-boyfriend is going to come snooping around on Facebook, and you have an indirect way of showing him that your life is incredible. Show him what he's missing out on. Make him jealous. These are the kind of things that can really make him think he made a mistake by leaving you, or thinking that the alternatives just can't compare to how good he felt with you. And then finally, we have investment. Now, investment when it comes to relationships can come in many shapes and forms. Time. How much time did he spend invested into the relationship? What kind of commitment has he put into the relationship? Are you dating? Are you married? Are you engaged? These are all great examples of investment. But what I want you to focus on is time. That is the number one way that you can show him or get him invested into another relationship with you. And here's the cool part. If you follow the strategies that I teach in Ex-Boyfriend Recovery, he will invest time into the relationship. And the more time that you get with him, the more he is going to invest himself into the relationship, and the easier it will be to get him to commit. The whole premise of the value chain, of moving him from the no contact rule to text messages, to phone calls, to in-person interactions, going on 3 dates, pausing if he doesn't commit. All of this is to get him to invest time. And if he invests that time, you have a really good chance of making him commit to you. Well, that's going to do it for this video of Ex-Boyfriend Recovery. If you haven't already, please stop by our website. We have an amazing quiz available for you to take. You can find out your exact chances of getting your ex-boyfriend back, so you actually don't waste your time on a situation that you have no chance at. So if you haven't already, go to www.exboyfriendrecovery.com, take our quiz. We'll see you next week.